Hi everyone and welcome back. So in today's video, I am going to review the K-Beauty Hydrating Foundation. I've got the shade 155Y Tan, which is my exact match, and this foundation retails for rupees 1200 for 30 grams of product. This foundation is available on Nykaa. I'm gonna link it in the description box if you guys want to check it out. It's available in 20 shades. So this foundation was launched months ago and I took my own sweet time to test it because I was not able to build an opinion on this foundation. But first we are going to see what K-Beauty has to say about this foundation. So basically this has got a natural hydrated dewy finish. It's lightweight and has got a second skin feel. It has an ultra creamy luxurious texture. It locks in moisture, all day comfortable wear, natural to high buildable coverage, blurs imperfections, and then it's perfect for all skin types. Now I'm going to judge this foundation based on my skin type and I'll only say what I feel because I've tried it on my skin and that's it. This has got avocado butter, mango butter and hyaluronic acid in it. These are basically the hydrating and moisturizing ingredients in the foundation. Along with that, this foundation is cruelty free, paraben free, paraffin free, oil and mineral free, and it's vegan as well. Now the shade 155Y Tan. So 155 is actually the K-Beauty number. Y is for undertone, which is yellow undertone, and then tan is your skin tone. So that is what the shade name means. There are 5 shades for light skin tone, 5 for medium, 5 for tan, and then 5 for deeper skin tones. Now I like the shade range a lot because I was able to find my exact match. Now these days, even if foundations come out with like 15, 16, 17 or 20 shades, I'm still not able to find my exact match because of my undertone. It's a mix of everything, you know. I've got a little bit of pink, I've got a little bit of olive, and then yellow too. So I generally end up mixing foundations. This shade has a perfect yellow olive undertone, I'd say. It also has a hint, like a tint of orange, but you will not be able to see it. It's there in the color, but it's not very much visible. And I'm going to mention some of my other foundations in the description box as well, so that you get an idea of my skin tone. I feel that this does oxidize, but very little. So make sure that you buy a shade that is your skin tone and don't go for a lighter shade or a deeper shade. Then let's get to the consistency of this foundation. The consistency is thick, it's cream-like. This foundation is not liquidy. The packaging is simple. This comes in a glass bottle. It has got a pump and it has a white colored cap, and I did dispose the outer packaging, but you get the shade name at the bottom of the bottle. Just because it's thick doesn't mean it's not gonna blend. It's a very lightweight foundation and it blends effortlessly. Now this is a foundation that gives you a very natural coverage. If you apply a single layer, you will get a light to medium coverage. If you guys watch my videos, you've seen me using this like at least 5 to 6 times in my videos, and I have used it in a lot of different ways. I've used it with hands, I've used it with a sponge, I've used it with a brush, and I feel that you can blend this foundation with pretty much anything. You can also use your hands, you can apply it very casually and it will still blend out. You can definitely build it up, but it will not give you full coverage. It will give you something between medium to full coverage once you start building it up. Now I did apply it on my hyperpigmentation. It doesn't cover my hyperpigmentation at all in a single layer, but once I start building it up around my mouth, it does give me like a medium to full coverage over there. Not full coverage. It doesn't cover your hyperpigmentation or flaws completely. So yeah, I'd say that this is a medium coverage foundation when you build it up, but in a single layer this is a light to medium coverage foundation. You obviously get more coverage when you use it with a brush compared to a sponge. So if you don't have any type of skin issues like hyperpigmentation or acne marks, I think you're really gonna like this foundation. You can also use this foundation as a skin tint. You can just take a little bit on your hand and rub it between your fingers for 2 to 3 seconds and then apply it all over your face. You can definitely use it as a tint. Another thing is that this doesn't exaggerate my pores or my fine lines. Now the thing is, you have to prep your skin before applying this foundation. You have to use a proper moisturizer. Like you have to do your skincare routine, then you have to use a good primer before using this foundation. So what I do is I apply 2 primers beneath this foundation to get like a flawless dewy effect on my face. Now the first primer that I use is the Maybelline Dewy Plus Smooth Primer, and then next you definitely have to use a silicone based primer. If you have exaggerated pores, say around your nose, in your T-zone, you should use a silicone based primer to just, you know, conceal the pores before you go in with the foundation, because this has got a dewy finish and it can exaggerate your pores if you do not apply a silicone based primer. The finish is not extremely dewy if you apply it with a sponge, but if you use a brush, it's very dewy. So I'd say that you apply it with your brush and take sponge and dab everything out. I prefer using it with a sponge because it gives a very natural finish and it's not extremely dewy when you use it with a sponge. Another thing is that it makes my skin look so plump and it gives me a beautiful glow that I really like. Now this is an extremely lightweight foundation. Even if you build it up, I don't feel like I have anything on my skin. So it's a very lightweight foundation. This foundation does transfer if you apply it using a brush and leave it to that. So you need to set it with powder, especially if you have oily or combination skin. You definitely have to set it with powder. Now when I use this foundation, I apply powder under my eyes, on my smile lines, in my T-zone. I mainly apply powder in those areas only because right now I have a very normal skin. Let's get to the staying power of this foundation. I've worn this foundation for a maximum of 6 hours and I feel that it did stay pretty strong during the entire time. It did not settle in my fine lines, it did not crack around my lips, especially on the corners of my lips. Foundation cracks up a lot and it looks very weird. So this foundation didn't do that. Now let's get to the formulation of this foundation. On Nykaa, it's mentioned that this has got avocado butter and mango butter. If you have sensitive skin, please do a patch test. In fact, if you have any skin type, you should perform a patch test before trying out this foundation. Now, my skin is a sucker for hydration. It will grab all the emollients, humectants, occlusives. You give it anything, it will just absorb anything and start glowing. So this foundation was not a problem for my skin, but if you have oily skin or sensitive skin or acne prone skin, please do a patch test before trying out this foundation. So right now I do have the foundation on, obviously, and I am going to do a quick transfer test. Let's check out whether this does transfer on my phone or not. So this is the area where I didn't set the foundation, so that's why I'm going here. Okay, it does transfer a bit, nothing major. That's how much it does transfer, not a lot for a hydrating foundation with a dewy finish. If you want to purchase this foundation, there are a few tips that I want to give you. First of all, blend it in with a sponge. That will make it transfer proof, almost, not completely, but I'd say like 60 to 70% transfer proof. And then do set it with powder, especially if you have an oily T-zone or even if you have an oily skin type. Prep your skin very nicely, do your skincare and then only apply this foundation. I've also used this foundation on top of SPF and it performs beautifully on top of that as well. But yes, you have to make sure that you prep your skin very nicely and apply a silicone based primer if you have open pores. It's waterproof, it's smudge proof and transfer proof if you set it with a powder. But overall, what I feel is that this is a really good foundation for dry, normal and combination skin. You obviously have to put in a little bit of extra work for skin prep, applying a primer and all of that stuff, but these are the steps that we do follow before applying any foundation, right? All in all, I really like this foundation. I feel that this is worth rupees 1200. Definitely for me it is. And this is not a sponsored video, you guys. I purchased this foundation with my own money. I wish it was sponsored, but it's not. If you have oily, sensitive or acne prone skin and if you've used this foundation, please let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Feel free to comment. And yeah, that's it for the video. Now I'm just gonna go and get a haircut because this looks really annoying.